back to this. Can I start filming? I think I can. Okay, that's One Direction. Haha, not the band though. Hello world, hello John. I want to tell you a story about regret. Back in April 2016, we took a jaunt over the mountains for the 4-day convention that is Emerald City Comic Con. I went with excitement and high hopes. There were going to be famous people there that I was elated at the chance to maybe talk to. Richard Kadrey, one of my favorite authors, was there, and I'll go over his series that I adore in a future vlog. Jonan Vasquez, the creator of my favorite Nicktoon, Invader Zim, was there, and a smattering of others. And this isn't the story of how I bumped into Jonan Vasquez as we were exiting the convention one night. That I'll save for another day. This is about day one, when we rode the many escalators into the center for the first time. That's when you, John, noticed another person riding them up with us. You nudged me and pointed him out and asked if it looked like Patrick Rothfuss. I knew of him and knew that he was an author, but I haven't read any of his books, but there was no question that that was him. Not long after, as you and I slowly walked through all the vendors, we saw him again. He sat alone at a table in Author's Alley. And I told you to go say hello to him because I knew you knew of him better than I did, and I assumed you read one of his books. And in the end, we left him in peace, and that is a huge regret for me. Not that I would have fanboyed all over him and asked him thousands of different questions, I just wanted to have a conversation with him. And not just for me. When I told Amanda about this, she was upset that we didn't talk to him. Because as it turns out, she's a huge fan. Let's shift to what this video is actually about. In the last year, I've since read 2 of his books, The Name of the Wind and The Wise Man's Fear. With Amanda's glowing endorsement of his work, I set to reading. It turns out that his books were the ones she told me that I would love, but wouldn't tell me which ones or who by. She didn't want me reading the first 2 just to realize that the third hadn't even come out yet, and the wait has been super long and is still going. She knows me well enough to know that I'd be fairly annoyed if I couldn't finish a story. However, with the situation with Mr. Rothfuss at ECCC and other things I've heard about, I did decide to sit down and read them. I knew going in that the story wasn't finished yet, but I must say, they are pretty amazing. As I've mentioned in the past, it does take me a few times before I get really hooked in a book so I can read it. But reading The Name of the Wind was as easy to me as rereading the Dresden Files. They're extremely well written and very easy to fall into the deep hallucination of being in a well-developed story and universe. I was hooked. Fast. Even my favorite book series of all time didn't hook me that fast. It's been a while since I've given a new book recommendation. And despite all the hullabaloo about John Green's new book, Turtles All the Way Down, my book recommendation this week is The Kingkiller Chronicle. Here's a quick summary of The Name of the Wind as found on Goodreads.com. Told in Quoth's own voice, this is the tale of the magically gifted young man who grows to be the most notorious wizard his world has ever seen. The intimate narrative of his childhood in a troupe of traveling players, his years spent as a near-feral orphan in a crime-ridden city, his daringly brazen yet successful bid to enter a legendary school of magic, and his life as a fugitive after the murder of a king form a gripping coming-of-age story unrivaled in recent literature. A high-action story written with a poet's hand, The Name of the Wind is a masterpiece that will transport readers into the body and mind of a wizard. And The Wise Man's Fear, the second book, picks up right where The Name of the Wind left it. The Name of the Wind and The Wise Man's Fear are available for purchase on any platform you prefer to do your reading. Naturally, I will include links in the doobly-doo so you can go and buy these on Amazon. The third book isn't out yet, but even without that third book, I think reading the first 2 is something everyone should do. Oh, and by the release of this episode, we are 2 days away from seeing John and Hank Green on stage here in Spokane. It'll be okay, I guess. That's all I got, John. Go sleep and we'll talk soon.